Hello everyone and welcome back to the Oceanic Challenger Series 2019. I am your host Bryce Adrian Paul. Joining me once again for round number 2, Corey Vandy Bassi. Welcome back to the desk.
Thank you very much. It's great to be back. Thankfully it's not 1,000,000 degrees today. It was more normal.
It's definitely feeling like 1,000,000 degrees in the room currently. The aircon.
Yeah, I'm actually very hot.
Yeah, I definitely put that on too late.
It's better.
But look, that's all right. Yeah, we are into week number 6. We will take a look at the schedule, see what's happening with the games for the day. Interesting week last week. See if we can top it this time. AV Academy versus the Tigers is going to be the first game, first cat out the bag there. Emprox Gravitas Academy going to be game number 2. UQ Union versus Legacy Genesis is going to be the third game of the day. UTS Order Academy, Bombers Academy taking on the undefeated Dire Cubs, the only team to kind of hold that spot at the top of the ladder. 0 losses, definitely feels good for the Dire Cubs there. And Mammoth Academy versus Chiefs in last game of the day, which I think will be very good. Both of those teams sitting at 4-1 right now.
Some spicy games up ahead. You and I are definitely looking forward to the Mammoth versus Chiefs, but also Emprox versus Gravitas looks like it's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah. Okay, why's that?
Well, basically because they're very, very close, but also neither of them performed very, very well last week.
Yeah, bit of a...
gonna go and say it.
Yeah, a bit of a roughie. I feel like Gravitas, without their jungler last week, did look like a different team. But that is a couple of games away. The first one is going to be AV versus QUT. That's going to be the first one here today. A couple of roster changes here coming from AV. I believe a little cheeky competitive ruling may have gone astray there. So jungle is going to be Elo. He's going to be subbing in to another role for this team. I believe he started as a top laner.
Yeah,
and then
he's
now
slowly moving his way around the team.
Yeah,
in the different roles.
Kind of played everywhere, so he's going to be facilitating that one. And a new face in Kental is going to be picking up the mid lane mantle, given that that's where Elo was last week. Now he's gone to jungle, so we've got someone new coming in.
Do you think he got punished because of mid Yorick? He actually played that really well.
Yeah,
as well as he could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, versus the Rise.
He was popping off. He just needed a couple more teams. Like, I feel like those kind of picks, like that looked very good up to a certain point, and then it really does require like a certain type of team fight to work. Like he needs someone to go in and basically be an Aatrox, just be this big, like, enormous guy that everybody kind of has to focus but doesn't want to and, like, draw some attention. And he just has to come in and start whacking you on the head with some shovels and can actually get things done. Unfortunately, it was not the case there.
It wasn't going to be the case, but it was fun to see. But I'm wondering if his team was like, all right, you did good, but let's try in another role.
I mean,
it feels like a bit of a demotion to me. It's like you only got to play mid once, and they're like, we're relegating you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think the intention was for him to play mid. I think it certainly was a bit of a coming in, being able to fill the position, and I think he did that admirably, rather. On the other side of the coin, the Tigers did pick up their first victory of the season last week, so certainly on the up and up here for the Queensland boys.
Yeah, it's got to feel good finally to get that one win. It's just UTS, unfortunately, still yet to pick up that win.
Just UTS?
Just UTS. They can do it. I believe still. When they do it, I will bring that UTS hoodie in.
Yeah.
But until then, I'm keeping it hidden.
I feel like this is 2 weeks in a row where last week, Max came out of the dead and he was like, one of the first things he said was just like, oh yeah, look, like, it was a game versus UTS. Like, we got the victory. No, you guys, what are the guests coming in thinking they own the show here? Just talking mad shit, but we are into the champ select for game number 1.
So blue side bands, we do see that Vayne sound coming out, and then red side with the Silas Aatrox. So again, taking away some flex picks. Vayne's an interesting one to me. I mean, it feels very targeted.
Big Vayne player, has played it a bunch this season already. Vayne Kaiser are really the go-tos. Interested to see what this band's going to be. Maybe something like the Rise has seen a lot of first pick priority. Akali still up and available in terms of the OPs. Hecarim has seen a bunch of priority in the OCS, so we are kind of getting back into the swing of competitive League of Legends internationally. So now, like with the LCK starting back up, the LPL starting back up, there's a lot more competitive drafts, as I throw my pen away, to look at as a player in the OCS, and like teams, you have like a lot more stuff to pull from. So I think coming into this week now, we will probably see a little bit of a difference to the trends we've been seeing so far.
You called it. That's the Rise removed completely off, so that's 3 for 3 in terms of those flex picks.
Okay.
We were hovering the Yorick, and now we get the first Yuumi. It is the first Yuumi.
Yes, this is the first Yuumi. We have seen a couple of bans, but it is going to be the first one to be played, and I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, we were talking about this a little bit off camera, and I was like, ooh, I don't know. I feel like she either just does super well, or she's just garbage.
Yeah.
But there's been enough time now where surely people have figured out a kid.
I mean, but so many champions are super good, or they're literal garbage. Like Aurelia springs to mind. They lock that one in. She either gets super mega ahead.
So popular,
especially
in mid. No one really taking it. Like, it's rare that people are taking it top, but like she just crushes mid, especially if it's going to be that mage matchup.
Yeah, I will say with the Sejuani, pair that together, you get the passive. That's super potent, especially like with the Aurelia, I'm saying. And also Froggadog, he's a guy that can certainly pick that one up. So you mentioned the mid Aurelia, not just locked down into that situation, but yeah, to touch back on the Yuumi, this is something that I think we've now seen enough play internationally. We've had enough time. A lot of the people in the OCS willing to pick this one up. We did see a couple of bans last time, but I'm super excited to see what they pair it with, what sort of AD carry they do want to go with in the bottom lane. Ezreal and Sivir, in my eyes, are two of the big ones. You kind of go for that double skill shot lane and can be fairly oppressive. Likes to be picked up with an AD carry that can take the TP as well, so certainly options galore here for AV Academy.
Not wanting to perhaps lock in the ADC just yet, favouring perhaps that mid
That would be a brave choice.
I feel like this is just a hover. Surely they might lock in their ADC. And yeah, Ezreal is something that we said goes really well. I was also thinking Kai'Sa I've seen go very successfully with Tekka, and that's also if you're choking out Fane's hero pool. But yeah, so Ezreal picked up, and here you go. This is the combo that you wanted to see with that Yuumi.
Yeah, 100%. This is a super prominent lane. They do lock it in with the Skarner as well, so both teams are kind of opting into the early jungle matchups. I will say, fairly standard there from AV. That makes a lot of sense. They've got Elo coming in. He just plays a big beefy tank with one button. That's super easy to pull off. But on the other side, Hai Gabai, he's played the Shaco. He's played some interesting stuff.
Yeah,
but
off-meta things.
Yeah, now going back to the Sejuani, I feel like he does look a lot better on those kind of champions. Already pairs well with the Aurelia, so Tiger's putting themselves into a fairly standard, what seems to be a front-to-back sort of comp here.
So now just focusing on perhaps taking away some other top picks, the Kennen ban coming on out, seeing how AVA want to respond. I guess if you are going to be versing that top Aurelia, there's kind of two ways you can go, right? You either out-farm her or... Ooh.
We lost it.
Oh, we lost it.
It's dead.
Yeah, you either out-farm her or you just want to pick someone that can play safe against her.
Yeah, like you can opt in for a fairly volatile lane, but I feel like given that you've locked in Aurelia Sejuani, that as a duo, very oppressive. Very hard to go toe-to-toe when you've got something like a Skarner who maybe needs a little bit more time. Not sure what the issue is, by the way, folks. We did hop out of Champion Select, but we'll be back in shortly, and I believe I've been told the picks will be the same. So
yeah, that makes sense. That's
nothing changing.
You're like, you can't change your mind on Yuumi.
Yeah.
It's been locked and we all saw it.
Yeah, that'd be a little bit of a roughie. If you get like a cheeky round two, you hardcore win the draft or lose the draft, probably pull out your internet cord. And just like, oh yeah, sorry guys, my bad.
I always hate where you get into those solo queue games and you got that one guy who keeps pinging his ping aggressively. I'm like, why didn't you check this before you jumped into your solo queue?
Nobody checks before. What?
You should.
You check?
Well, I mean, like, if my internet's been spotty and I just happen to notice,
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's...
Because otherwise it's unenjoyable for me. I don't want to play with 10,000 ping.
Yeah, neither do I. I don't want to play with 42 ping.
Yeah, but
I was
you've got that
complaining about
Jarvan
this
and
last
he's literally
week.
just, like, pinging, and I'm like, we know you've got 1,000 ping.
I mean, like, psychologically, it's possibly the worst thing you can do.
And I love when he messes up the plays, he's just pinging the thing, and you're like...
That's what he's doing. You just put it out there, and then you have something to blame it on.
We get it.
Yeah, but, like, telling your teammates that you're lagging makes them angrier at you. And it just turns out to be a really bad time
I'm that
overall.
aggressive. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, just don't lag. As simple as that. Just instead move out of Australia, go to a country with good internet.
Yeah, I was just thinking Google Fiber. America's so lucky.
Yeah, Google Fiber, what is that? Like 1,000 up, 1,000 down?
Yeah, something like that. Something ridiculously fast. And then when we've got NBN fiber class connected to copper nodes, I feel like every gamer at home is just like, we know that.
What was the proposed, as someone who probably knows very little about the rollout of the NBN?
Oh, I can tell you all.
Yeah, I'm assuming you know more than me.
Like,
what was the proposed, first... Like, what were the download, upload rates that, like, the proposed first iteration of the NBN?
I think it was minimum 100, and that was just because it was all going to be done with fiber. But then, as we know, the election kind of changed parties, and then Liberals were like, we've got a different plan for it. And then they're like, actually, this is taking too much time. Tell you what, we're going to make use of the existing copper nodes.
Does that make sense?
And they're like, we've bought all this expensive fiber, and we're just connected to copper nodes. So that's why you've got, like, all these weird Frankenstein...
Yeah, just bottleneck it.
Yeah.
Just build.
You got fiber to the curb, fiber to the premises. You have HFC. It's just a mess. And the reason I know so much about this.
What's HFC?
It's like,
it's like a cable?
It's an acronym. It's the one connected to like your PTV or something like. It's like a hybrid.
Oh, okay.
Someone out there can correct me on that one. That one I know is just new. We're getting back into it.
Okay.
Oh.
So we've got a bunch of new champions. It's not an Ezreal, it's not a Yuumi. The first 3 bans are the same. Obviously, they've redrafted the first 3 picks.
I feel like I'm getting ripped off.
Yeah, this is... Okay, Kai'Sa was locked in, Ezreal was locked in. Okay, so we are... Okay, so they've completed the draft. and they've gone through and now they're just locking in all their champions.
So they must have just pre-done their, maybe you just finished it in chat or something, and then we're just getting to see them lock it in. Okay, so we're rushing through it. That's fine. The most important thing, we still get that Ezreal Yuumi.
Yeah, that is true. I will say also that these guys are absolute noobs, and they didn't pick it in the order which they picked it the first time. They just locked in their champs. So gonna have to call you out. That's that's like scrim etiquette. That's something you learn over the years of playing scrims. You got to stick to the order. Otherwise, the coach can't get the screenshot of the draft in order. That is the worst time.
Well, wasn't it last week that we saw like Thresh mid and Silas support, and it was just freaking out everyone? It was one of the games, where they just...
Wait, what? Like OCS game?
Yeah, last week.
Oh, with the scoreboard order?
Yeah. And we're like, oh, okay. And it's definitely not Silas support, but I'm just like, it's moments like that.
Oh, with the bombers.
Yeah.
Because
I couldn't remember which team it was, but I remember seeing it and I was like, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it was like Bushy playing Silas mid, Luch was AD carry, Zenk was support, and I'm looking at the roles like, where are these guys all
And even
going?
Max, he was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. So we do have the complete comps on your screen. Take a moment to take a look. Hecarim versus Poppy in the top side. Jungle matchup, of course, is something we saw. We talked about where the Aurelia potentially may go. Tiger's going to put that one in the mid lane, and Hentai on his first iteration into the OCS rather is going to be picking up the Syndra. So fairly stable-ish matchup in the mid lane there.
I mean, I do like the fact that we do have that Poppy. We saw it, like, even last week, the Poppy just getting a lot of value in terms of those team fights, being able to change the flow. If a fight's not quite going your way, just catapulting, I think it was a Galio into Narnia. Just having that disengage tool, so handy.
Yeah, super high impact ulti, right? Like if you land that on a priority target, you fling Kai'Sa, you fling an Aurelia out of a team fight, then completely changes the game. Even Sejuani in this game looks like a decent target because it just removes the front line and then you have 4 different people to hit on. So certainly a lot of options for Tekka up there in the top side. Nami, of course, was going to be the lock-in into the Yuumi. And I'm most interested, right? It's the first Yuumi that we have seen. I'm a support main, but I feel like in terms of matchups into the Yuumi, like we're not cemented yet. A lot of people come out very early in a champion's life cycle and be like, oh yeah, like Braum release. This guy is OP, he wins versus, and then like 2 months later, the pros and like LCK, LPL are like the top tier of League of Legends completely have different opinions on like what was expected. So Nami obviously is going to be the lock-in here for Vicaria, but interested to see kind of how this one plays out.
I think Nami could be maybe a toss-up to that comfort pick, but also to help, because with Yuumi, she's just so effective. A good Yuumi with that poke. So to just have that sustain, even if you are unfortunately copying some of it, you don't get bullied completely out of lane. That's like the biggest thing that I find, especially with the Ezreal as well. It's just so much poke coming your way.
Yeah, especially like when you do pair her with the Ezreal, that makes sense. She kind of functions similar to a Zyra-ish in lane, probably more like a Sona when you take in the heals, but in terms of like out of range Q poke that you cannot fight back with unless you outrange the Yuumi, which is incredibly difficult. Then it's just like Zyra throwing plants at you. There's nothing really you can do to avoid the damage. So in this case, they go for a healer to kind of absorb some of it. The other port of call is just like lock in Alistar, right? You just headbutt her in the face, like you just combo.
I haven't seen Alistar in ages.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's scared of him, like to play him.
Yeah, with Morgana being so highly prioritized in the meta, he's very hard to pick. And I feel like when Ali is in the meta, he's a blind pick more often than not, right? It's not counter pick Alistar very often.
Yeah.
Because that just doesn't sound like
it does.
the most
I'm
potent
just
thing
like,
in the world.
Ooh.
Yeah, but like I feel like it is an option. You can actually combo the Yuumi as she W's back onto her AD carry, and you will break the cycle. Because Yuumi is like literally 0 HP, doesn't take flash, doesn't build boots, incredibly squishy.
Super vulnerable.
Yeah, so like you can actually, like the speed of the combo is enough for you to be able to break the...
I'm learning something.
What's it called? You and me.
Yeah.
So you can kind of deny her.
Nice.
Going back to the AD carry there. Not sure what's happening with the game just yet, of course. We did go through Champion Select, all 10 of them locked in. I believe we will be sticking...
HFC.
Yeah. Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, we will be locking in with those picks and bans, I expect, but we'll be getting into the game shortly. But until that time, we can just shoot the shit. How's your solo queue been going? You been playing much League?
No, unfortunately not. I have the most exciting news. We got a puppy.
Oh,
I've been
true.
telling everyone. So I've basically just been waking up at 2 a.m., 5 a.m. every day. I haven't touched my computer in like a week and a half. It is a bit of a bad time.
Yeah, okay.
So it's the time that I get to study and practice commentating and everything is literally when my puppy is asleep. He
like
sleeps from 2
small
to 5
hours of like
2 to 5
chunks.
p.m. He gets 3 hours, and it's like the most blissful 3 hours.
Yeah, that's like a couple of games And then you're like,
but like, it's not
again,
even. I'm just like,
games.
I've got to watch all the thing. I've got to make my notes. I've got to practice. And then he's already up and he's like, I want dinner. And I'm like, you're so cute.
Also, if you're just yelling at your computer, it's probably not conducive to a sleeping puppy.
Yeah. Don't worry, he's going to get old. I'll be back on the game soon enough. In fact, when I get back to Sydney, I'm going to grind that solo queue.
Yeah, okay. I'm getting back on the train right now. I feel like a lot of people, at least in high elo, will be dreading having me on their team. Look, I'm just hot trash right now.
First time Yumi.
I've just genuinely just been bottom feeding in Diamond 1 for like a week, and it's just a really sad time. But, of course, we are into the game. Game number 1, AV Academy versus QUT Tigers. Eventually, folks, we finally got there.
Look, it's all about building up that anticipation. As I said, this is going to be a good one. These teams, unfortunately, they're both 1-4. So I feel like both of them are really going to be hungry for this win.
Want to be stacking up wins on wins. It's kind of interesting how the ladder is shaken out, where you have like these big chunks of teams. Direwolves, they sit at the top, or Dire Cubs, I should say, but then you have a block of 3, Gravitas, Chiefs, and Mammoth with 4 wins. Legacy, Emprox, and Bombers have 3. And nobody has 2 wins. There's just a big bunch of people, UQ Union, AVA, Order Academy, and QUT, all sitting on just a single win, trying to differentiate themselves from one another, I expect.
Yeah, you want to just break the streak. You want to get that second win and be the first one to do it. And, I mean, QUT, they got that first win last week.
Yeah, keep the momentum.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep riding it.
Alrighty, as we get into the laning phase, so no one was trying for any cheeky invades, everyone guarding the paths just to make sure no shenanigans going to be going forth.
A couple of interesting things I want to hit on, just because we do have a little bit of time, right? I've been seeing a little bit more of sweeper starts, just kind of in general. Junglers normally do it level 1, and they ward something, they ward dot push the enemy jungle, go back, pick up a sweeper, and then just have that trinket to start ticking away at the cooldown. But I have seen a couple of supports actually picking that one up very early in the game. Normally the kind of rule of thumb is like, yeah, get to Sightstone, then I can afford to go the sweeper. But we have been seeing not necessarily the Yumis and the Namis of the world, but more of the tankier supports, maybe the Tahm Kenches, the Alistar, stuff like that, picking that one up earlier than expected. So we don't see any of that this game, but we do have a Yumi. She doesn't have a flash.
Oh, now we get to judge the drawing skills.
Ooh, nice.
That's pretty good. Threading the needle.
1 for 1. He's also rocking the skin.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm like, if you're going to play Yumi without that skin, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I feel like this lane, the most obnoxious thing is Ezreal gets to take TP and then you still have a heal. Like Yumi changes the way you play support. Now, I was speaking about this earlier, right? But you don't build boots. You don't want to take flash because you're always attached to an ally and you can just jump from ally to ally, so you don't really need it. And there's never really a time where you ever want to be in a combat situation, aka when you would use flash, without a friend to be on, right? So flash just isn't all that useful, but it does mean you go for the double combat summoner here in the heal and ignite. We have seen more aggressive variants with the heal and exhaust, rather. We do see more aggressive variants with the ignite, but more commonly you see this one.
Plenty in solo queue with the exhaust ignite, and it's just the bane of my existence. But yeah, so just empowering the Ezreal and what he can bring. Yeah. But already, even in that bottom lane, you can see the sustain that Vicari is able to give Feint. Just make sure that even if they do get the poke, we'll heal it right back up.
Yeah, they're able to push in fairly early. They've already got lane prio, start whacking away. Probably have a little bit more wave clear early on in the game with the Kai'Sa versus the Ezreal. So it makes sense that they do have small amount of priority here. Junglers are going to end up on the same side of the map in top side, though. Kentai is actually going to
ward?
Yeah, he's going to ward the Raptors and also spotted out Hi Goodbye Sejuani doing the golems with the plants. So very nice kind of slip into the top side there.
Yeah, pretty chill in the mid lane. I mean, Aurelia, very, very scary. Will sort of start to scale up if you give her that opportunity, but it's all about playing safe. I hate that matchup personally. When I'm in mid and I have to verse out Aurelia's mage, and it's like, all I have to do is farm.
Are you a mid player?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, I feel like Aurelia is the scariest mid to verse as an off-roll.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
she's just scary no matter what. Like, you give her one kill and I'm just like, oh my goodness, my lane. It's just, there's never just one.
One of those guys.
Yeah, one of those guys.
Yeah, but junglers, not really useful pre-level 6 here. Skarner, of course, has the stun if he can get into melee range. Sejuani needs a little bit of time to build up that passive as well. So, not the scariest pre-level 6 gankers. Does mean that the Aurelia has a little bit more freedom in the mid lane than you would otherwise expect. So, Unspecialized been able to utilize that fairly effectively right now. Has a tiny little bit of a CS lead, but it's really all you can point to as the difference in this mid lane right now. But Syndra just kind of sitting back, farming up with the orbs. Does not have all that much mana, but the Biscuit's going to help in that department.
I like that ward that Hi Goodbye did as well, just so you can keep tabs on the enemy jungler for Elo. But Skarner, I mean, pre-6, I don't find him very, very terrifying. It's just, once he's 6, then you're really just like, all right, we need to be very aware of this guy. If he sees that opportunity, he'll take it, but for the most part, should be able to cruise on.
Yeah, like he can punish you for super overextending.
Yeah.
Like once he's level 4 and he has kind of this base, right? Like, yes, he's gone for the slow smite and the blue one there.
He'd be spotted in that
Blanking
try.
on the name, but does have the boot, so his Predator is now online. He can get 2 places if he really wants to, but combat effectiveness not the greatest. As you mentioned, he's going to get spotted out though, and they are going to be trying to clear out a bunch of this vision on the bottom side. Elo still hanging around to try and defend his bottom lane, who's now pushing in.
It's funny, because Hi Goodbye has the perfect name for it. He was literally just like, hi, goodbye.
Yep. Hits a ward, leaves that one away. Very nice bottom side vision here from QUT. Given the Aurelia had the priority, gets himself a recall there. It's no TPs in the mid lane. It is the Ignite versus the heal, so gets himself a reset with the pressure that the Sejuani did provide, and gets himself a cheeky little Merc treads by, so...
Not too shabby. I'm having a look at how Relopal... it's funny with Yumi plays, I find that they're either very, very direct in the way that they're targeting and drawing their Qs, or it's just like they do the little like loop-de-loop into your face.
Yeah, Relopal is definitely a loop-de-loop sort of guy.
Yeah, he strikes me as one.
Kind of gets to cast this one backwards and zooms that all over the place before he goes towards his target.
Not bad. I mean, so far, I guess it's been pretty slow, but I mean, that's something to be expected as well. Once I feel that we see level 6 coming on board, in fact, right now, the ultimate comes out from Froggadog, straight onto Tekka. The Ignite is ticking away. Hi Goodbye is trying to get there. He doesn't even need him, gets the first blood.
And a straight up solo kill there for Froggadog. Hits him with the Ignite, knows the damage output there, and gets the flash too. TP is going to get the Poppy back to lane without losing too much, but once again, Froggadog on the Hecarim. Normally we see that in the jungle pick up, and he's going to take that one into the top lane. Very nicely played.
And we go straight to the pause.
Relopal's dead.
Yep.
He's DC'd. He's the problem. He's the problem with Champ Select. He locked in the Yumi. Now he's lagging.
I wonder if he's got a cat. Maybe his cat is like sabotaging him. Have you noticed there's never dogs that sabotage things? It's always cats.
Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, your dog will accidentally chew the cable, but like cats will literally just like walk
chew the
over.
cable?
Yeah, like intentionally claw a cable, sit on your laptop, knock over things on your keyboard. So many friends I've played with and like, sorry, my cat just did this. I'm like,
is that their fault? Or is it the fact that they are just strictly smaller than most dogs?
I think it's just that cats are jerks sometimes, and they know
I mean,
it.
yeah, they're definitely
They've
the
been
worst
worshipped.
animal.
Like ancient Egypt worshipped them. They know that they're better than us.
That's actually a very good point. I never had a cat or a dog.
What?
That's a bloody sad
Not
time.
even as a kid.
Yeah, no. I had fish. I think I spoke about this multiple. I think it's on the OPL broadcast, but yeah, I had fish.
Just recap for new me. Like,
and then
I haven't heard this.
we went on holidays as a family, and I believe this story is correct. And my dad.
Wait, what do you mean? Like you don't remember it right?
Well, I mean, I don't remember exactly, but I believe this is the correct story, and I'll probably get called out if it's not.
Okay.
But my dad always listens to like broadcasts. And then,
nice.
yeah, and then he like, anytime I say something that isn't true, he's just like, you're talking shit. What is that? Like, he just calls me out immediately. No,
Can we teach him Twitch chat?
we went on holiday and then we came back, and whilst we were on holiday, we put the like, because instead of getting friends over to like feed the fish, because you need to feed your animals when you go away, we just put them in our neighbor's tank, which is like, I mean, I was a child, so don't blame me, blame my parents. But then on the way back, we were literally in the house to pick them up because they obviously had a fish tank and they had nice friendly fish that were not so friendly after all.
I was going to say they ate them.
They literally ate them as we were there picking up the fish.
That's
like
really
not even like immediately they were put in and they got chomped and then there was a bit of an awkward story. Like we were there to pick them up after the holiday.
And then they got eaten.
And they just got
Were you a little bit traumatized? Are you a bit sad about that?
I feel like
Or
I
you
have an
don't mind
awful
as much?
memory. I don't remember. Was I cut? Probably. It's not. I don't think it was a defining moment in my childhood.
Well, I remember when I went to Singapore and I had a bird at the time. It was a cockatiel and I loved it to bits. And we went to Singapore and I came back and they're like, oh, your bird passed away. And I was like, I knew this one cousin couldn't be trusted.
Oh, you
And I was like, okay, well, where did you bury him? He's like, we threw it in the bin. And I was like, devoed as a kid. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's a train wreck.
That was.
You didn't even get like the
like if you at least had a
closure. You
burial-
didn't get the closure.
Exactly. I was like, A, you neglected my bird probably and it died.
Yeah.
And B, I threw it in the bin. I'm like, you could have lied to me.
Was it a loud and annoying bird?
No, it was very sweet. My sister's was the scary one. She had a budgie and it was just horrifying. My mom's like, isn't it cute? And it was like biting her hand off. I was like, I don't want to touch that.
So what's a cockatiel?
You know, like cockatoos, how they've got the crest?
Yeah.
Imagine like a really
They're
small
just tiny
one.
cockatoos.
Yeah. And we're back.
We are back. No birds in this game.
No, yeah, I was gonna say, unfortunately. I'm sure there's like tiny, you know, where you can see like the frogs, the ants and stuff like
The
that.
critters.
Yeah. Oh, good stun there.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, okay. Followed up by the ultimate. Coming on out, just trading a little bit, not wanting to dive too far until he waits for the reset. That's going to be the first.
Oh!
Well, sorry, not the first blood, second blood.
Yeah, and Unspecialized gets away with murder as well. Flashes out of the turret aggro, so does not get taken down. Burns the heal from Kantai, and just another straight-up solo kill here. The solo lane is from QUT. They're pulling out all the cards here, and whilst that's happening, that's an Infernal Dragon, so they're just getting everything.
Value upon value upon value. It's with Aurelia, like, I always have to respect. I'm like, oh, you know, maybe he might not die for it. Just waited for the cooldowns, went straight for the kill, calculated it.
Yeah. Well, you can see him kind of making the decisions on the fly, right? He's trying to bait out the Syndra stun to then hop on over after that fact. He starts it off, hits the stun, lands the ulti, gets the resets on his Qs, and you can see a little bit of happy feet back and forward, but as soon as he pops the ignite, the heal is not coming out before that point, so he doesn't get the extra bonus there, and Specialized sees it, flashes out, so...
It's gold in the bank. This is the Aurelia possible snowball coming on through. You don't want to let it get too out of hand, but, I mean, the saving grace is that we're keeping it pretty well in terms of that CS.
Yeah, certainly. Nice bit of vision out from Froggadog, does rotate down the river.
Runs into Tekka.
Exactly what is going on, but not able to deny that one. So the blue buff is in full control of QUT, and you can see as well, High Goodbye is tracking from his bottom side up to top lane. So if he chooses to, has the Sejuani ult now, has an Aurelia and a Hecarim that all can potentially get priority in their lane. So I would expect a contest onto this blue buff, but it's not going to be the case. They're just willing to concede this one, hand it over.
But still getting vision tabs on where exactly everyone on the map is. That definitely speaks volumes. And bot lane just trading still. Just trading.
Yeah, very hard for either of these lanes to really commit on one another. Double healing support means a lot of the poke is not going to stick that much. I feel like Yuumi is a champion that kind of shows you how in sync the laners are together, like on the same team, right? And I feel like Styled, there's that work that I was going to be saying, needs to step up as soon as Relope casts the Q so we can get that extra range. Of course, he's kind of gated to where your ally is standing when you are attached, so the ability to communicate that one, move around, and give that Yuumi the extra bit of distance. Let's kind of go the extra mile there, but as I was saying, they do just have a W to be able to heal that one up.
It's nice that the blue went over to Kentai, just going to help him clear the wave, just keep it pushed as much as possible versus Unspecialized, and not really give him that opportunity to make that play again.
Yeah, potential gank here at the top lane is going to be spotted out by a very nice ward there from Tekka. Probably placed that one as Froggadog was walking back to lane for the blue buff, so... Given a full HP Poppy, Bone Plating is now procced, but Sejuani, Hecarim probably don't have the damage to burst that one 100-0, not going to go through.
Wouldn't want it to. Same in the jungle. It's weird though, because now we've seen Elo, as you said, hit that level 6 for a while, but it's just the vision that we have QUT across the map. He's really limited in what games he can do. Yeah,
I'm kind of expecting something to happen to the level 6 mark, but as you mentioned, we are past that point. I feel like mid lane is probably going to be the hottest property. You can see Pink Ward on the top side of the mid lane for QUT Tigers as kind of an avenue for High Goodbye to get in. A very deeper ward there from AV will spot that side out, but neither of these level 6 ganking junglers able to pull something off just yet. First one off the game has not stuck. Oh, reload pull. Hits a minion.
High Goodbye again, just a little bit close into Elo's jungle, but knows that he can get away with it, either to get vision and also clearing out a lot of the wards that AVA are trying to put down. Yeah,
and I feel like Nami does certainly have the advantage in this regard, right? Being able to build boots, you can see already has the brown bags, whereas the Yuumi, just sitting out of Fog of War, he's kind of saying, like, I don't want to show the fact that I'm in lane right now. The W range is fairly large, so if Feint ever tries to go on style, then the Yuumi can be there. But without boots, and especially once Vicaria gets to that tier 2 boot mark, it really is going to be very difficult for Relope to kind of keep up in the vision game without access to his jungle. This was an attempted gank.
Not quite connecting for the stun, unfortunately.
And once again, I pointed it out just before, a little bit of communication error from the bottom lane of AVA here, and Ezreal didn't step up as the Yuumi ulti was cast. You need 3 waves of that ulti to be able to CC someone down. That could have been the layering with the Skarner. That could have been another kill to get AV on the board, but kind of fizzles and they lose the Rift Herald.
Yeah, High Goodbye. Pretty happy with that one. Picks it up for free. Actually goes for the gang. Misses ultimate completely. Kentai gets the flash up. And he's fine. Elo is now going to try to see if he can make anything happen. But no, just slowly chasing him off.
Yeah, Predator not popped. Actually used it in the bottom side as well.
Still
so it doesn't have the extra speed.
And finally disengaging.
Yeah, Rift Herald certainly was a danger there as well. Both of those skill shots got flown off into Narnia. Very nice flash from Kentai, gets himself out of the Aurelia ulti, but he's going to lose the Summoner and some control in this mid lane.
A little bit of poke, but now Unspecialized knows that the stun is down when you're most vulnerable with Syndra. It's really weird, right? With Kentai, it's sometimes when you're that jungler and you're going for that gank, you're expecting the flash immediately. Like you could see, he was just like predicting where he might go.
Yeah.
I feel like Kentai wasn't even realizing what was happening. He's like, oh, and then he flashed.
There's a very small margin of when the Sejuani shows in the bush and then the ability comes flying out to be able to react to, but in that situation, you don't need to. If you're in the whip range of that Sejuani, you can apply the slow, you can apply the red buff. Aurelia has non-committal CC to be able to throw. So like burn Aurelia stun, then throw the Sejuani ulti afterwards, and you can kind of cover pre-flash and post-flash with the CC there. So opportunity certainly looked for, very close by the Tigers, but not able to land that one. Oh, turning circle on that one.
Tight. See, I told you, cats. Yumi's just making a little mess as she recalls.
Yeah, I was going to say, was that the recall noise?
Yeah, the
that was so loud.
Yeah, it was just like...
Compared to like Ezreal Q was flying out, Kai'Sa's CSing, the Yumi noises popping off.
She's helping me make my point. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I do like that skin.
Yeah, agree. I don't have that skin, unfortunately. A little bit sad about it. Of course, the Yumi build is going to be the Chalice turned into the Athenes very early, kind of akin to something like a Sona or a Karma. You need to be able to deal semi-relevant damage as a support to be warranted in picking up that item, and Yumi, with the Q poke, can do just that, can then utilize the passive with the heals there, probably go into an Ardent, maybe a Death Cap later for the straight AP values.
Also paired with style, he's picked up that Sheen, and that's where he really starts to come online.
Ulti's going to land. It does
nice chonk.
Bunch of damage for Kari. Just going to pop a pot immediately. Next dragon has spawned. It is a good one. It is going to be the Mountain, and a fight looks to be breaking out here. QUT starting this one up.
AVA are trying to surround it as well. They do have vision on high goodbye. And just trying to make sure that Feint can't collapse onto them with Vicaria.
Yeah, Tigers, though, they've brought down the top laner. Syndra's actually on the mini-map going to use the stun. Reload ball, very nice dodge. Oh!
Sejuani ultim is going to connect, but unfortunately no one can collapse on it.
Yeah, and the fancy feed is just way too much there from the cat. He gets onto the Ezreal. Sure, Sejuani ulti wax styled into the face, but CC burnt, dodged out of everything, and yeah, they do kind of have to disengage from the dragon. They're going to start this one back up, but without a main engage tool in the Sejuani, this is much more difficult for the Tigers.
Clearing it out. You still have high goodbye in the dragon pit. Now starting to run away. See if they can reset. A little bit of poke comes across, and Style just bullying them out.
Oh. And this is just the weight game here from AV. You can see mid lane, Aurelia has huge wave advantages, able to just constantly crash this one into turret, and Kantai is just like, look, I just want to farm these waves, guys. I can't walk through the river. I cannot face check the Aurelia. So every time that the Tigers do disengage from the dragon, AV are happy to let that one happen. Go back to lane, catch the waves. As long as they're not stacking dragons upon dragons here, they're kind of safe enough to just sit back and farm their lanes as much as possible.
It's got a QT as well. Like, they started the Drake twice, but neither wanting to commit. Instead, now popping the Rift Herald in that top lane.
It's a little bit of an expiry Herald. Pops it very deep in his jungle. We'll probably get a crash, given that Aurelia is already floating up top side, but plating long gone. We are already 15 minutes into this game. It's been a little bit jagged, given the pauses and stuff like that, but plating has fallen off. That is a very unfortunate place for Shelly to stop.
Yep.
They're not even going to get a crash, or maybe they will.
Shelly's getting very distracted, and Specialized and high goodbye there, seeing if they can try and escort it in. Shelly's channeling, and there's the crash.
Very close to the Poppy passive, throwing the buckler and getting the eye. She kind of turned around at the last remaining moment to be able to deny that one. So, big bunch of damage hits the turret, but not going to fall down anytime soon. And this is just a very slow game.
Come top as well, though, just to escort Shelly in. Not even for any plates, because we'd long past that.
Yeah, well, you kind of, like, expiring Rift Herald is never a situation you want to be in, right? They're kind of one of those things that it happens and you're like, okay, what can we do with it? It's obviously not a premeditated move, and they kind of have to try and make something happen. They have the priority already, so look to top side. They kind of force AV to come and react, show three faces in top lane as well, so it does just end up being a 3 versus 3. Shelly cracks the turret, wants to deal a boatload of damage, but we are starting to get towards some of these item breakpoints. A very expensive build now started up by the Hecarim, has a 20 CS lead, and Triforce now completed with the tier 2 boots. Aurelia should probably be very close to finishing her Triforce as well.
Time the Mountain Drake has been started by High Goodbye. They do have the vision, but now Elo has spotted them.
Are they going to fight this one? The Syndra is walking over, so you can see AV certainly toying with the idea. Hecarim channeling down and walking from topside once again. Elo's in the vicinity.
Poised. Will go in. High Goodbye is still trying to get it down. The Drake is going. Ezreal ultimate is gone. The Nami wave is there. It's going to be dragging over to the red side. Elo is completely destroyed as the rest of the members of AVA try to disengage. Tekka actually wants to go in. He gets the kill. Unspecialized, tries to re-engage in that backline, gets him out, almost goes down, finally goes down and drops to Style. But now Frogger is there, threatening him and taking it out. It's going to be a 3 for 3.
Yeah, and basically 4 versus 5 QUT. They almost wipe house there, but just enough of the damage does go through. Frogger, first one to react to the play, and Kentai actually rocked up to the play with 20% HP. Not sure what happened off the side of the screen, but maybe found himself an Aurelia or a Hecarim in the jungle, and that's certainly not a place for Syndra to be. So Tigers, they do win the Smite fight, they do get the Mountain Dragon and walk away with the victory in the team fight.
It's just Hecarim in a nutshell. Just literally walked up and was like, "What's up, Ezreal?"
Yeah. He just
ran him over.
Yeah, wandered in from top lane. You can see Tekka TP to the River Bush and then got a very nice flank, took down Unspecialized, but Frogger didn't even have to burn the TP, and given the lead he is now accruing for himself, right? He's working on his second item. He still has that TP now advantage over his opponent, so still has that global map pressure and continuing to have a very strong start to this game. 2 minutes until Baron spawns, and we see probably the next big objective to fight over.
QUT would be happy with that. I mean, a Mountain Drake and still trading for those kills could have gone a lot worse for them.
Yeah, it certainly can. I mean, your Aurelia was pre-Triforce, right? Like, you haven't even hit your realistically, like, best item spikes across the point. You want Feint with a Manamune Kai'Sa. He wants to be stacking that one up just much like the Ezreal. Hit the Muramana breakpoint. Triforce now completed for the Aurelia, as I mentioned, but both of these teams kind of happy to play a fairly slow early game, right? Like, Ezreal, Yuumi scale incredibly well. Sejuani, when you have 2 melee solo laners, also in the same boat. You pair that with a Kai'Sa. This is kind of 2 team comps opposed, one versus each other, but they kind of do fairly similar things here, so kind of expect a much slower game with the gold leaders realistically only 2,000 apiece.
I was going to say, that gold lead, I was expecting it to be so much more, but it's both of these teams just really pacing themselves. And we saw that from AVA as well, where they took, was it the 4 teleports, and they just stalled enough to get that win?
Yeah, that was an interesting game. I don't think it was AVA. I think it was Order Academy.
Sorry, yeah. With the A at the end. But
picked up a Sona with TP. That was an interesting choice. He actually DM'd me afterwards, and he said his hands were cold, and he didn't mean to take Klepto.
Oh, that was an accident.
So,
I thought
I'm
it was
sitting there
intentional.
like, man, this guy's the greediest support I've ever met in my life. Like, he's rocking the Sona already, taking the Klepto and the TP.
But my point about that was just that these teams are very happy to just stall it out. Not a lot of engaging happening unless fighting for the objectives, even where the Rift Herald, just as you said, had to be spawned out of desperation. Yeah, well, I feel like coming into this game, if you take a look at where the teams stand, like on a broader picture, right? You see QUT, yes, they just picked up their first victory. They are finding some comfort now with High Goodbye on more stable junglers like the Sejuani. They do look more cohesive, more like a team, as opposed to like a bunch of individual players, right? But then you look at AV, roster, drastically changed for this week. So you kind of expect to come in Elo substituting into the jungle position, right? He wants to play something standard, something safe like the Skarner. He's not going to be picking up the Elise or the Lee Sin anytime soon, I expect, but kind of ends up with both of these teams coming into this game here today versus each other with a sort of justifiable, fairly safe standpoint, and you kind of do get this sort of game, right? 8 kills total right now. 2K is still the lead. 20 minutes, so the big purple worm is up and available, but you can kind of see these leads brewing. I feel like the Hecarim is kind of only getting stronger and stronger as this game goes on. High Goodbye has been in that top bush for ages, waiting for Kentai to just push up just a little bit. Now Unspecialized joins in. They've committed so much time, but that ward is there. That's just a very good read from the Syndra. Oh, this is actually going to be a catch. They're going to bump straight into these two, and Aurelia procs his ultimate. The Yuumi ult means that they cannot collapse, and Relopal gets away with that. Yeah, very nice use of the book there, and CC's up multiple members. The flash does have to be burnt by the Skarner, so gets himself to relative safety. Mid lane is now the prize that QUT have set their sights on, but without a wave, and given how much time they spent here, AV certainly able to react so far. Ezreal ulting.
Oh,
dishes
big
out
chunk.
a nice chunk over there. Also followed up by the stun from Kentai. They dish out the damage to the wave.
Yep.
Really stopping the push coming out from QUT.
And pre-Baron buff, it's so hard to commit to a turret. Versus the Ezreal, versus the Sivir, versus the Yuumi. They've got all of this non-committal wave clear. They can kind of just throw. Syndra can even then pick up the cannon, so you don't even get the extra tiny bits of damage that a cannon minion can provide. So very difficult task there for QUT and not able to get much done.
Clearing out vision now, AVA, but also just posturing. So still waiting for their ultimates to come back online. It's only 2 burns, so we saw Styled using that to clear the wave and chunk them and then relocal.
And you can kind of see this 1-3-1 setup is going to be the setup of choice here for Tigers, right? You've got double very strong side lane solo lanes. Hecarim building a lead versus the Poppy, or as best he can. Aurelia, you can see, is kind of forcing Kentai to just sit underneath his inner turret. That wave crashes, he goes and catches it, then groups up with the rest of his team on AV, whereas Unspecialized is spending a lot more time in the side lane. And you mentioned it just before, High Goodbye has spent a boatload of time just sitting in bushes around the Syndra, so it does ultimately mean that nothing has happened towards top side, but that just means Kentai has been playing it very well, right? He is the one at a disadvantage into the gank situation. He's constantly in that 2v1 scenario and hasn't given them an opportunity so far, so...
he's done very well.
Given his first berth into the OCS here and into relatively tough matchup in the Sejuani and the Aurelia. Have to commend him on his plays so far.
Look at the amount of vision that AVA have in that top lane as well. A lot of the members waiting in the bush. So Elo, you can see, also joined by Relocal.
Yeah, actually has a cat in his shoulder and face checks the bush with the Sejuani. The reset is going to come through. Interested that the boots is actually going to be completed here for Relocal, so not going for the boots-less build and didn't go for the free-ass boots either, so actually bought those ones. Goes back, finishes his Athenes, and Yuumi just scales so disgustingly well. Once you get to like 3-ish items and you get a bunch of levels, he's now level 11, right? So he's got rank 2 ulti, and the CDs kind of start trickling down to just spamming out abilities, jumping from person to person, and your ulti, super broken in the right environment.
Yeah, just so as we saw, when everyone was trying to collapse into that jungle path over there, just completely stopped it with one ultimate.
That's like best case scenario. Your ulti is like perfect width for that kind of choke where you're just kind of like funneling through and not a lot of room to dodge in that sort of situation. So
I like the sound effect that she made. What did she say? Like, oh no, 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 or something like that?
I didn't hear it.
I don't know if she does it with this skin, but like just normally she's just like, oh no, no, no.
I feel like we're 3 seconds away from her just being like, hey, listen.
Oh, Elo over here saying, hey, listen to me. Actually forcing out the ultimate from Vicaria. But Elo, he's still not going to be deterred, forcing out another ultimate, this time from Sejuani to lock him in place.
Disaster from AV Academy. The TP comes just slightly late, and Elo gets denied twice on his contest there. Looked to try and pin the skewer into something. Tried to get the fish, but Sejuani said no. High Goodbye now dashing over the wall, trying to defend this turret. Stun lands.
Stun goes on High Goodbye. It's not the member that they do want. The ultimate does come out from Unspecialized, forcing them back a little bit, but they do get a little bit of a chunk off the turret.
Yeah, but a very nice defense there from the Tigers. You can see Froggadog in the side lane is just left alone with the turret. That CS lead now growing to 30 and has some time alone to get the work done. So finishes his 2 items, doesn't have to expend the TP, so is going to have that advantage once again in his top lane. So QT certainly come out the victors in that situation.
Bit by bit, Froggadog opened up that bot lane, as you said, which means that High Goodbye ran straight to this air Drake and could probably solo it.
Yeah.
No one's really going to be nearby to contest, and they don't have the vision.
Sejuani used to be just the worst jungler in the game at doing objectives because your passive was on such a long cooldown, but now that only applies to champions, so with the percentage damage she has, she can actually tear through a dragon so long as she can tank it for long enough. So it's going to be able to take that one down. Turret for turret is the trade.
So like AVA, they did finally spot out, saw the Drake was being taken, tried to get value in the top lane, which they did, but QT also responded right back, getting a turret in the mid lane. So QT, bit by bit, they are starting to come up ahead in these micro trades.
Yeah, and they are like very small, right? That was a big team fight brewing, and the Skarner was moments
he had
away.
His flash, he was just, you could tell, he was spamming it. He's like, come up.
It's kind of that catch earlier where Yuumi saved him in the choke and he had to burn the flash. If that was available, then flash for flash does not matter when you have a Predator, right? You're just zooming at your opponent. That is a dead Nami, potentially a look at Baron, but that wasn't the hand that was drawn, so a very different game right now. Neither team at 26 minutes has realistically looked to start that one up, despite kind of wrestling over that control for the last couple.
Lots of discipline from both teams. Every time we think we're about to get a team fight brewing, as you said, just the disengage coming out. But it forced 2 ultimates to keep Elo at bay.
Yeah, certainly. Nami have the Sejuani for the disengage, as you mentioned. It is going to be, I feel like we're trending towards one of these games where, like, not a lot has happened for the first 25 minutes, right? This is going to be starting up a Baron. He's just going to try hit him with an auto attack, and that's exactly what happens. But, like, we're going to have, like, a one team fight wonder. Like, somebody's going to burn all their flashes, somebody's going to hit. Here we go,
keen
Vicaria.
to do it. Empowered by Yuumi, the Q does connect, but Vicaria is under the turret.
And Feint plays that very aggressively, utilizing the stealth he gets from the upgrade there, and kind of playing on the knife's edge right in front of Elo. Has the QSS, so not the most afraid of the Skarner. Very nicely played, and once again, they disengage the Predator.
And then they trade priority. So before, AVA had priority, and now with that, QUT can clear out the Baron Pit, regain vision control. It's just the dance.
Yeah, and the dance is winning for the Tigers strictly because the Poppy doesn't have access to TP. Every time something is looking like it may happen, Tekka has to leave top lane, or bot lane rather. He has to start walking over to the play or he's never going to get there. And Froggadog is just getting chunk after chunk and eating more waves than his opponent. So sitting on 3 items now is a fairly large Hecarim. Only getting larger for the time being, and probably has about 2 minutes left on the TP disadvantage he's kind of fighting through right now.
Poor Tekka. Feels like he's just on guard duty, but he is until that teleport is back up. Hi, goodbye. He spots them, but not yet willing. I mean, Unspecialized is in the top lane.
Yeah.
So it's more just for safety.
3 items completed here from Styled, and actually has a pickaxe, so not willing to go for anything like the QSS there. There is a lot of like non-committal CC. I was talking about it earlier in the 2v2 mid, but that's an Aurelia ult. That's an Aurelia stun rather, or a Sejuani ult that could just come flying over the wall and doesn't pay the price for the QSS just yet. Isn't quite scared enough to be at that point, but this is actually a Baron started up for the Tigers. AV have some idea.
AV, they're starting to poke on out. Hi, goodbye, undeterred. Baron is at about half. Rest of the members now gathered from AVA. It's going to be the bot lane is left alone.
Stun lands up to Sejuani.
Does. Aurelia opens up with the ultimate. The Sejuani ultimate connects, followed up by the Nami wave, but Yuumi is keeping them at bay. Now that Yuumi's ultimate is done, the rest of the members of QT don't want to engage.
And that one single choke just bites Tigers once again. Froggadog, I think, is on a bit of vision, and the collapse
jumps
is here.
onto Kentai. The rest of the members are trying to flank him. Big ultimate coming out from Froggadog. Kentai is so low. He's trying to get taken out by Feint, but Froggadog might go down. Instead, Elo is first to drop. Starred in a lot of trouble, and Specialized gets the shutdown onto him.
And the flank for the horse once again does wonders. Unspecialized once more. Flash.
He goes, jumps under the turret. Might have overcommitted a little bit too much. No, he's going to be all right.
Barely lives. The rest of the team, meanwhile, is taking down the Baron. A little bit of HP is still there for the Sejuani, and the TP back from Froggadog may just be enough to secure this, but contest is coming. Only 3 members, but the chance is there.
They're getting healed up bit by bit. Froggadog, they're asking him to tank it, but this is going to be the Baron going over to QT.
And eventually 30 minutes is on the clock, or just about. And it took them a very long time, but the single team fight is there. They take down 2 members, the front line there from AV, and they find access to the Baron pit. So a Mountain, an Infernal, an Air, and now paired with the Worm. Items now completed here for the Nami once again. So item breakpoints kind of hit across the board, and now with the Baron buff, QUT looking to break open this game.
It's, I was looking at the bot lane as well while that fight was brewing. Tekka was trying his best to stop Froggadog from teleporting away, but eventually you saw, as soon as Froggadog broke through, it just changed the flow of the fight completely.
Yeah, because that was actually AV turning onto Froggadog, right? They knew he was coming. They knew the TP had been called and he was on the flank, but basically one hits Kentai on the Syndra. The fight kind of gets forked off in 2 different directions, and Relopal, I think, had to save someone on the right wing, and then the left flank just gets completely boomed by the Tigers, so a little bit of a roughie. You can see the Yuumi effectiveness in that one choke. When AV can group on top of each other and QUT kind of just walk at them from one direction, fights look very good. They can just disengage and kite back over the Syndra balls, over the Ezreal, but as soon as it does get split up, you have a Hecarim on one side and Aurelia on the other, and it is just so much tougher.
QT blowing this one apart. That's going to be the second Mountain Drake over to them as well, and already the gold lead went from about 2k, 3k to now almost 5k.
Yeah, a big lead, kind of out of nowhere there. Defense is the name of the game here for AVA, trying to hold on to what their inhibs for as long as possible. Potential flank was being looked at there by Elo, but just going to group up with the rest of his people. Be a little bit of a front line so they can hit the wave, but I feel like for the Tigers, it's not about this mid lane, right? The 3 in the mid lane are just kind of being a pressure point right now. They want to be making progress in these side lanes. Hecarim over the Poppy and Aurelia over the Syndra, just whacking away on the turret every opportunity they get.
Bit by bit by bit, Frogdog is slowly taking away Tekka's ground. It was first the outer turret, then the middle turret. Now he's already on his way to the inner.
Super Creeps, or Baron minions rather, doing a bunch of work. So that's one turret going down with the Baron buff. Working on the top side as the rotation is going to be there from the Tigers. So AV probably going to have to drop that one as well. Haven't yet had to drop anything in their base. So still all together and have something to fall back to. But Tigers potentially going to look for a dive after this one.
Systematically taking away all of the middle turrets and just really controlling the map. Trying to make their worth out of the Baron that they've got.
Yeah, Feint kind of walks into Narnia just for a moment there. Hi, goodbye. Nice to get himself out of that one. Reloadful just hanging on the back end of the Skarner. Very nice combo, able to speed him up with the zoomies and give him extra access. It's not like he already has a Righteous Glory and a Predator. He needs a Yuumi as well to get him to hit the back line.
Just desperately trying to push back these waves. But on the side of QT, one slip up and you can tell they're itching to engage.
Yeah, certainly looking for it. Frogdog wants nothing to do with the Poppy on the bottom side. You can see he's actually finding it very hard now to hit turrets in the side lane. Poppy has just infinite armor. That's a Thornmail in the brewing, in the making rather. Has a Sunfire, has the Ninja Tubby, so certainly isn't taking damage from the horse, but able to just wave clear as best as possible, despite being 3.3k down. That's just like a 60 CS deficit there, or 50 rather, and a couple of kills, but doesn't matter when you have a turret to sit under.
Not too shabby, I've got to say. I mean, Tekka, he's probably had the roughest straw, but he's been doing well with the hand that he's been dealt.
Certainly is the case. The lead is really there for the solo laners, the Aurelia and the Hecarim in terms of gold, but that is going to be Baron gone, so once again, we're back to the slow game of League of Legends. 33 minutes. Next Baron will be a few away, but...
Elder should be up before?
Potentially, yeah, 35 is going to be the spawn, or after that point, rather. I'm not sure the timing of the last dragon.
So definitely that would be QT setting their sights on that. So they did do the reset, not wishing to dive under the turret, not wanting to give away any of the lead that they've accrued.
Yeah, and a bunch of one-time uses now purchased here. You can see the stopwatches in the back pocket of the Aurelia and the Kai'Sa. So now pairing that with the QSS, kind of have every defensive tool that they will ever need. And Vicaria uses that to go for a fairly greedy build here on the Nami. First item Ardent isn't something you see a whole lot of in the 2019 meta. More often than not, you see Redemption into a luxury Ardent or something like that. But the straight up rush kind of banks on his AD carry being able to keep himself alive and has worked out pretty well so far.
So many QSSs on the side of QT.
Yeah.
It's going to be so hard. Even if Elo does manage to get that drag finally, he's just been so blocked. Like, this guy, I feel for him.
Yeah.
Skarner, you want to make those picks?
It's pretty hard. Yeah, like the time window is almost gone. Now you have to be going on the Sejuani, who's already got 4k HP, has a Gargoyle, so that's 8k HP if you're ripping her back into the rest of your team. So Vicaria is really the only other reasonable option here, but he's just been sitting very far back behind his teammates, as he exactly should be.
When he is threatened, he's got the wave at his disposal as well. So he's got self-heal if things get really, really dire for him. So it's just hard with their team fight, but maybe Elo spotting a chance over here, gets the slow from Yuumi, but doesn't commit to it after he sees hi goodbye. Yeah,
1 minute left on the Baron spawn as well, so I believe Baron is spawning just a few moments before the Elder Dragon, so they potentially could be in one of these situations where the teams do look for any sort of trade, but given the Tigers, they are winning this game, right? They have all of the dragons. AVA really don't want to be trading Elder for Baron anytime soon. There's basically no benefit for them to pick that one up. It lasts a little bit less, and they don't get a good use of that buff, but this is actually the Tigers just setting straight up for the Elder. They don't care about the Baron, they just want bot side.
Just waiting, trying to anticipate where AVA will be. That's going to be the Elder now in the cycle of spawning. Surely this will be something that we see. Finally, the contestant coming out. Elo is going to be spotting out these wards. Yeah,
and a little bit of a bait and switch here, though, from the Tigers. That's two members, the Sejuani and the Kai'Sa. The tank and the main damage threat actually going towards the Baron. So yes, AV clear out the vision, but if they don't start the Elder Dragon, they're going to lose this one for free.
So interesting. They haven't spotted the rest of the members, maybe thinking that they're in the bush. It's all about the mind games, and Frogdog just being the ultimate decoy.
Can he go through the base? He can just continue tracking topside, and that's going to be the play. Elo's very quick.
It's going to be a race against time. Frogdog trying his best. The smite's going to slow him down. Finally gets the stun.
He has QSS.
The ultimate comes out from Frogdog, and he gets away.
Yeah. Doesn't even need the glory or anything. Has his E for the speed boost, and Holds
Baron
onto
and
the
Elder Drake
QSS.
going across the ultimate bait.
And that was just a disaster from AV. Ultimately made the worst possible decision. They lose the Baron and chase the Hecarim whilst losing the Dragon, so...
That feels bad.
Yeah, this game was incredibly close. 25 minutes and nobody has touched any major objective. Now 10 minutes later, 4 Dragons, Baron and an Elder Dragon. That is...
This is QT's game to lose.
Yeah, that was a bit of a roughie there.
It's going to be very, very hard for them to lose it at this rate. Provided they just don't run it down. But even you saw Frogdog could tank the world and he wasn't even phased.
Because, like, in that situation, he's now gone back and sold his QSS for a last item. But he didn't even need to use it, right? Like, if Elo pops the ulti, then Hecarim pops the QSS, and then he wins the trade, and the team can fight immediately. So, chasing the Hecarim turned out to be a futile decision there, and certainly cost them dearly. You can see once again, now with Baron number 2, the Tigers setting up for their 1-3-1 formation, just trying to pick apart the team fight comp that AV have put together. They do really want to stay grouped up much more than their opponents.
On the side of QUT, this is going to be the push that can probably win the game for them. Even if they wanted to, they could group and dive, but they're still opting for the 1-3-1. Bit by bit, use the Baron.
Yeah, you can see a flank in the mid lane brewing though. Skarner has the Yuumi attached and they're actually looking to get on top of the Nami.
The turret's the first to fall and a big fight over here. Yuumi locking up all those members. Vicaria does not fall. Hyderabad tries to get the CC on. Frogdog, his ultimate does miss, but it's going to be Kentai taken on out. The rest of the members turning their attention onto Tekka, who's next to fall. QUT showed no sign of stopping. Starl is desperately trying to keep him at bay. Mid is fully open. Bait with the flash. Doesn't manage to connect. That's going to be another inhibitor going down. And for QUT, this is going to be game over. The death timers are surely too long for them to go. They're going onto the second Nexus turret. They're going onto the base. QUT get their second win.
Yeah, back-to-back victories here for the Tigers. A very slow game versus AVA, but once they got the lead, they got the Baron, got themselves a second Baron, and the last couple of minutes was really just all Tigers. AV looked all out of sorts.
It's so interesting. They always waited for that Yuumi ult as well, and then the counter engage was immediately there. They're like, burn it. We don't care. We're not going to commit.
Yeah, they just have so many QSSs. Like that was the only play that AV can look for. They get a flank onto the Nami. Unfortunately, they didn't have the damage to follow up, right? When there's tanks to be able to shepherd like the Nami in, you can just sit a Sejuani with 8k HP in front, and Ezreal's not going to be hitting anyone anytime soon. So yeah, they picked themselves up the victory in slow but fairly commanding fashion.
It was. It was safe, but it was consistent, and it really worked for them.
Yeah.
And feel like we really do have a team. It's interesting. You said they really started to look more cohesive now.
Yeah, it's completely different than what we saw in the first couple of weeks, which I guess makes sense, right? Like new rosters come together, like different players kind of meshing as they get some time, but really looks like they are settling on a style so far and looks to be paying off. So QUT, the Tigers, they do pick up their second victory back-to-back weeks there. Don't go anywhere, rather, game 2 just after this 3-minute break.